I am actually the director of what's called the Collective Impact Model for IDEA Part C project. And this is an Office of Special Education funded model demonstration project. It's really intended to take a look at what's happening in particularly rural communities or small communities around identifying children who may have developmental delays or disabilities and making sure they get connected appropriately to early intervention services and other early childhood supports.
With the collective impact model, that's really what we're looking at is our referral partners to see what kind of developmental screening they're doing. Like, what are they sharing with parents about what their children are doing or should be doing? It's just really important to know. And I think we empower parents by talking to them about the milestones.
And I see a lot of families struggling with things that they don't have knowledge that exists that are free in the community. And I want to make sure that I partner with different community agencies and different families to make them aware of the agencies.
What is unique about our program is that we are a whole system of services for a family. We're not just PT or just speech. We help families with all their needs for their child's development. And it's not just for the child, we work with the entire family. So not just the child is getting the service, but the entire family is. And so we're able to coordinate with other programs to provide all the services that a family might need.
Well, Alabama's early intervention system is a unique system of services because families don't have to pay. They can access the services free no matter what their economic background is.
The research really shows that the sooner families are connected to developmental supports and information, the better the educational trajectory for their children.
The earlier we work with children and babies and infants and toddlers, the better chance they have at meeting their milestones and being able to function like a typically developing child when they get older.
It's very important for physicians or daycare workers or family members who have a concern about their child's development to call us, to refer to us as soon as possible. The sooner you start with a family working on areas of delay, then the better your prognosis, the better your outcome with the family is.
From a clinical standpoint, it is so important for us to get a child in as early as possible just so we can start that process of educating our parents more and just kind of opening their eyes to things that they can be working on at home.
So if there are potential developmental concerns around communication, like speaking and talking and what you understand, movement and motor skills, social and emotional development and how we relate and engage with our little friends in daycare or our family and siblings in our home communities, if there's a potential concern, the sooner we can work with families and provide supports that are really strength-based and help to play on strengths while at the same time addressing potential concerns, the more likely children are to not need special education services when they get to school. If they do need services, the more likely they are to be provided in an inclusive setting, so with children and peers who don't have disabilities or don't have educational learning concerns. And it actually is also really connected to lifelong outcomes, going to college, having a job, being an engaged member of a community and valued in those communities. So the sooner physicians identify a potential concern and talk to families about their options, the greater those supports can be provided as soon as possible and really change the developmental and learning trajectory for children.
We're very fortunate that in our area, that Fort Novosel is in our area. And so we have a lot of families that come in and come out in a very short amount of time. Typically, they are there for warrant officer training school or flight school, and that can range anywhere from 12 to 18 months all the way up to 3 years. And so we are getting families, like I said, for a very short amount of time. And so it's really imperative that we find these kiddos and get services kind of going if they require those services. So when that family moves on to their next duty station, we already have those services in place.
You know, better for a physician to refer and then the therapist or whoever the provider is to not think that the child needs the services than to not refer at all, and then the child could be left behind.
One of the challenges that we have come upon is making families aware that we even exist in the community and that the services we have exist.
A lot of times physicians want to kind of what we call hold on to the family until they get a little older and then make referrals out. But we're getting them to understand that the earlier the referral is made, the sooner we can get in and work with those families and get them on the right track for getting their child what they need.
A lot of families tell us they wish they had known about us earlier because, again, going back to the speech, they may wait till their child is, the pediatrician may wait until their child is 2 or 3, close to 3 years old to refer to us for speech. And then when we tell them what all we do, they say, well, I wish I'd known about you sooner. So that it tends to be a barrier. We're not able to work with that family as long as we could have. Another barrier is that families don't know that our services are at no cost to them.
Families don't really understand that they can refer their child if they're concerned. They don't have to have their doctor make the referral. They can refer if they have a concern. We'll come out, we'll evaluate, That is a barrier, and I think through our work, trying to work with folks in the community who actually could be referring to early intervention on don't wait, don't wait till they're 3, don't wait, go ahead. I mean, you have nothing to lose by having someone take a look, right? Or doing a little assessment, evaluation.
Referrals are contingent on the attitudes, behaviors, and beliefs of non-early intervention providers. So physicians have to know about the services and connect families from the medical perspective. Child care programs need to know about the services so that they can talk to families if something's being noticed in the classroom or in the child care setting. Social workers, child protective services, home visitors from other programs, they need to value early intervention, and they need to talk with families appropriately about what the services are. So I think one of the real challenges is that there's a lot of misinformation out there, and people don't quite understand what we do in what's called Part C, early intervention, that's different from, say, early Head Start or a WIC home visiting program or a new parent support program. So we kind of get lumped in together when really early intervention is a civil right. And for children who are eligible, the state has to provide the services if families want them. They're provided in home and community settings, and they're really intended, as I said, to mitigate the impact of a speech or movement delay or autism or something similar that could really impact the learning outcomes that a child may have as they grow.
One is the whole on-post, off-post kind of debacle, if you want to call it that. Like I said before, we provide services, meaning service coordination, transition services, speech-language pathology services for active duty family members that live on post. Same thing for families that are military families, but say they live off post, but they come to the doctor on post at Fort Novacell. Regardless, the doctor filters all those referrals to us, and then we kind of help divide out what the child and family would need. And so more of it's an education for providers, as well as doctors, social workers, really anybody to kind of help, because this process is confusing enough, especially when someone is telling you that there may be something wrong with your child, a little bit delayed, and then you're getting filtered to someone who then looks at you and says, well, guess what? I can't provide the services because of where you live.
The misunderstanding of what early intervention can provide a family, that you can have early intervention alongside clinical therapy. It's not one or the other. We can support families in a lot of ways. In the home, we go into the home, it's free. We knock on your door, we come in to where you typically are.
We attend different partnership agency recruitment events they have in the community to make people aware and let them know that we're out there.
We've been able to do some virtual meetings and trainings and stuff, and so that has really helped with the scheduling problem we have.
We work very, very closely with Alabama Early Intervention. Got a system in place now of what we need to do for the referral for on-post, off-post.
Getting the family to know that we're here for them. We're not necessarily here to change their lives in any way or make them do things that they may not be willing to do or culturally want to do. We're here for them, we work with them, we have them to know that we're not trying to change anything, we're just trying to help.